We are live. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are, wherever you happen to be. Welcome to another edition of the Living World of Darkness Rage Across New York. We go ahead and open up the scene in the umbral reflection of the park where we see Alonna, after having battled the devilishly daring bloodbanes that wanted to encroach upon the sept and beating them back. She is currently licking her wounds, much like everybody else that was in the fight, but eh. And doing whatever she does to go ahead and recuperate, there is a white, feathery spirit. It just goes ahead and approaches her via the air and lands on the shoulder if it can. If not, I'll just go ahead and perch on a nearby branch and start tweet at her.
Yeah, she can be in helmet at the moment. She was trying to shape Earth, so it's a little easier with hands than paws. Hello there, bird. What can I do for you?
I'll go ahead and tweet at her. And I'll go ahead and fly over right in front of her. Start to skip a few feet backwards and approach her again. You repeat the same pattern.
All right, where are we going? Let's go. And she'll begin following.
All right. This little white devil, I want to say, spirit's more accurate, goes ahead and flies off in the direction of the north, actually. It doesn't really go ahead and fly far away from your peripheral vision. In fact, if you get lost, it'll go ahead and tweet at you. But eventually you'll find yourself coming upon past reservoir, past the huge lake of water and the fantastically powerful spirit there, sort of cleansing and water and whatnot. But just a little bit more north, you see the umbral reflection go ahead and start get a little bit thicker. But the spirit doesn't take you into the umbral reflection of the north woods. No, it goes ahead and takes a awfully hard right-hand turn past a smaller body of water, and even on towards a really thick underbrush is what I want to go ahead and call it. And when it goes ahead and finds that underbrush, it doesn't go in itself. It just goes ahead and hops in front of what is presumably a way in. But considering how thick this foliage is, you don't really know.
Is it big enough for her to go in helmet, or should she switch to lupus?
It looks like you could be able to scrounge around underneath a little bit easier if you're in lupus. If you're going in Hamid, you're going to be fighting back the brushels in the bushes.
She'll switch into lupus then. She doesn't mind. She's menace. She can go switch around. Because that's okay. Right.
As you go ahead and get underneath these bushes, you start to hear something in the darkness. It's fantastic how shadowed this particular patch of the sept is. You can see the moon, but it doesn't give too much light down here. And you hear slight hissing. Not aggressive hissing, but certainly the hiss of a snake or two.
Alright, there's snakes in here. But on sept, so it shouldn't be a problem, but we should definitely keep her eyes and ears open, but she's not taking an aggressive posture. Does that make sense as she continues her way through?
That's fair. That's fair.
It's an alert posture.
Fair enough. Pretty soon, actually, as you're going along, you can positively hear the hissing of these snakes in front of you, but they don't come after you. In fact, they slither out of your way. You're almost positive of that. You can hear them. You can't necessarily see them, but you can certainly hear them. And they're definitely moving away, but covering up your exit.
Alrighty then.
Eventually, you do go ahead and come upon a clearing. In this clearing, there is very, very simply one stone slab. Just one stone slab. And on this stone slab, you can see a lupus form that you're not quite familiar with, but definitely goes ahead and smells very much like one of Unicorn's brood.
Hello there.
Lupus will go ahead and turn his head. Alonna, daughter of Stag.
Lucas, Unicorn's Blood. Hi.
Yeah. He'll go ahead and take the second to revert back to Hamid and step off the stone slab, but go ahead and lean against it.
He's a
How you been
frosted
lately,
knight.
Alonna? Yes, he is.
She will tilt her head to the side as a sign of respect, exposing her neck to him.
He'll notice the sign of respect. Go ahead and wave. Sanities.
She relaxes back from it. I'm doing alright, I suppose. Not as bad as somewhere, but not as good as others. And you probably see several wounds on her, but she still has 3 points of damage. Because
Go ahead
we
and
do
look
a
to
lot
that.
of gnosis.
I don't doubt it, from what I heard. Lucas is going to go ahead and look at the wounds. Go ahead and just did you reach out with his hand and say, "Would you like some help with that?"
If it's within your purview on your villain, I would not turn it away.
I'll go ahead and charge for the story. Tell me how you got these.
On the south side of the sept, there were 8 blood veins, and we nearly lost Stoneclaw, Teresa, and Hotfix during the fight. Tina and Reindeer were there to help us. These beasts were massive. It was like fighting a 2-headed bus or something. But there were 8 of them, so it's like 16 heads spitting this burning blood at us, biting us, draining the blood from us when they did on their bites. Stoneclaw, Teresa, and Hotfix. If it wasn't for Gaia's rage, probably would be dead at the moment.
But all combatants came back to us. We suffered known casualties, and you destroyed the enemy, right?
We killed 5 of the 8. We incapacitated 2 of them, and they began drifting downriver during the fight. The 8th one swam away as just before we could kill it. Unfortunately, Katori and I both noticed dark shapes swimming in the blood. He says it looks like we got spiral dancers, as they then began dragging the blood veins out of the river.
The river. Which side of the sept was
There's
this?
a blood river on the south side. It's encroaching on the entrance.
Oh. Where then?
we put up earth and such to keep it at bay, but I don't know how far it's gonna rise.
So we're in a bit of a blood flood moment. Okay, awesome. And Lucas is going to go ahead and walk towards you, his hands up. You're still in Lupus, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. He'll go ahead and crouch down and sort of go ahead and rough up your rough on your left flank. Doo-doo-doo. It's almost affectionate. Scratchy, scratchy, scratchy. Okay, what do I have? What is your rage?
2.
Wow.
So minimum difficulty is 3.
You're good. You're so good. You feel the love of the mother rush through you and mend your wounds.
Oh, that feels so much better already. Oh, feels good to be able to take a deep breath again.
Yeah. Those wounds in your underbelly, the ones that poke through, and I can see the rib bone. That's so nice.
Thank you very much. She'll kind of nuzzle you with the top of her head.
Aww. Go ahead and scratch just behind the ear. Scratch, 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 scratch.
And her ear will twitch
Besides all that
in
excitement.
anticipation or excitement from it.
Oh. Okay. Let me see. Let me think for a second. He's actually going to go ahead and sit down and actually beckon you to go ahead and stand or crouch or sit closer to the stone slab. And he's going to go ahead and rest his back on it. And he's simply going to go ahead and brainstorm to himself. So, how do you build up enough sandbags to go ahead and prepare for a blood dam?
We weren't building sandbags. We were just building earth. Some people can call the earth or the air or the fire or the water.
Those not born to lupus or Hamid.
Right?
He goes ahead and shakes his head. You know, I had a friend that offered to teach me that little trick, but time got away from us.
Has a tendency to do that.
It does. It absolutely does. But what's your prognosis on this then?
We need to find out wherever they're coming from or where their main place is, and hopefully it's not part of these vampire things that are going around having all these parties lately.
Oh,
If it is, well,
this is the first time I'm hearing about that.
Vampires had a ball, I think. No, not a ball. It's like a party of some sort, with costumes and shenanigans of all kinds. There was one of the things was you hit this thing and it shoots the right up the tube to the top. If you get to the top, you get a prize. You hit it with a hammer. Not entirely sure what it's called. Maybe it's a hammer game.
Okay.
The red stuff in the tube though was actually real blood. And then after they told the story, city of Carthage and vampires, something about they salted the earth where they sank into it to keep them from coming back out. Vampires in the audience began talking people. Two of the vampires up on the stage. One of them was unnaturally beautiful. He, not entirely sure what it was. He didn't really have a particular gender that you could tell, but it flowed blood at us, and that blood burned, and burned something fierce. But there were, I guess, workers of will and magic, calling themselves Harry Potters in public, I suppose. If that makes sense to you.
It sort of does.
They were there, and one of them and King got, not entirely sure what they did. The one girl was just smucked around, but the woman used something on Ping, froze her in place, almost like a statue. She didn't even move when I grabbed her.
Hmm.
We had a cub with us, so I had to get him and her out of there. Thankfully, Teresa
Which
covered
cub?
her. Aiden,
You guys had nods. That one's a good sort. He's had experience.
he wanted to stay and keep fighting, but Teresa made sure he came out with us.
Okay. Awesome. I'm certainly glad that Teresa had a better head on her shoulders.
I told him to follow but and to run, but he wasn't listening to me. And I had my hands full. I couldn't just grab him as well at the time. Carrying one Krynos out is tough enough.
During that fight, were you able to not suffer casualties and defeat the enemies?
We killed 9 of the vampires and their creatures with the sword-like arms. Nah, as far as I can tell, none of us got out. Or we all got out alive. Even got most of the humans out alive.
Was that your first encounter with them? The
Aye.
leeches?
My first encounter with them. Chloe had warned me about them, though. Kill them till they're ash.
Yeah, absolutely. Even if it tastes like dirt in your mouth. Only had a few run-ins with them. Nothing as glorious about what you guys did, though. But what I always find really, really fucked up is the way they can mess with you. Lucas is like holding his hands out at the moment, and when he says mess with, he's like sort of trying to abstractly like wave his hands in the air in a circular motion, up and down, up and down, up and down. It's like really mess with you.
Aye, I'm starting paying it. I'd agree with you.
They can get into your head, which is bad. But they also can make you feel things and do things that you don't really want.
Well, I'm glad we got lucky then.
Yeah. If you can encounter them on the field of battle, you are fine. You are strong, you are fast, you have claws. The first time that I actually encountered one of these assholes was real down south, actually in Florida. And I got a really, really good, healthy fear of them. Because when they came at me, it wasn't on the field of battle. I was kind of taken by surprise. She was like gorgeous, and the bathing suit that she wore, oh, it was fantastic. Anytime Actually, if you're down south in Florida or any of the coastal states, make it a habit to take up some type of surfing or beach activity. Because I swear, the way the sun just went ahead and shined off her body, guess I looks at you. Well, never mind. She was a trick. She bamboozled me. And before I knew it, two jackasses were pummeling me in the face, and I was strapped to a chair. Not fun.
Hey, doesn't sound like it.
Nah. So glad my family was able to bust me out of that situation. But I learned a healthy fear from that. Don't know what they would have done to me. Don't know what they would have done to my family if I had said something or let something loose. I've seen them get into people's lives. I once knew this one girl. Just for a single night, actually, I knew her. But I saw what one of those asshole leeches did to her. She was completely infatuated with it. And it was nothing but a blood-sucking monster. It was just something that would have used her until she had no more use and then thrown her away like so many others. And I don't know. I was at the right place at the right time. And when I heard this story about this little lost girl who was in their clutches, I hunted. And I found him. And even when I found him, even when I was staring him right in the face, Alonna, don't talk to them. Don't ever talk to them. I'd made that mistake. I wanted to scare it off of her. Let it go ahead and bleed off somewhere else. But I talked to him, and he got in here. He goes ahead and points to his head, and he made me feel something I ought not to have felt. And that was a moment's hesitation that allowed that girl, who was completely devoted to this thing, this evil, creepy fucking thing, to rush out into danger between us. That moment of hesitation I blocked off as quick as I could. And I jumped on the damn thing and I tore it to pieces out in the middle of the sun.
Well, that's good to know.
In any case, what do you think about the Garu set? You've been here like a few days now.
Be a week tomorrow.
A week tomorrow. I mean, we could keep talking until the midnight hour rolls by, and we could literally make it a week.
I could. If that's what you have wishes for.
Why not? But what do you think about the Garu the Sept?
You can see that she's being very contemplative. Maybe she's going over all the people she's met. For the most part, they seem like good folk. Some of them are very staunch in their tribes. Old rivalries, so to speak.
You're talking about the divide between our pure tribe and our European tribesmen?
That might be one way to put it. Though Katori and I have gotten along smashingly so far. No, the only one of them that I've really ever had an issue with so far is that cub, Talatahine.
Oh, why do you rub each other the wrong way then?
I've been trying to be nothing but kind to her, polite to her. She does everything she can to just push the envelope shy of disrespectful.
She is just pushing the envelope. Is that what here?
Aye, she's trying to see how far she can go before she's actually gone too far. Which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but I'd rather. She's young, she shouldn't have such long held hatred, especially for somebody who's done nothing but offered to help.
Hmm. Well, she is young. She's a cub. She will make her mistakes. And she is allowed this time to learn and make mistakes.
Aye. That's why I'm trying not to hold it against her. We all make mistakes. Some people will long after being a cub.
Oh. Now we're getting some serious talk. Who's made a mistake?
Nobody of recent memory that I can think of. But I know I've heard stories. People long since dead. Back home. People who said the wrong thing at the wrong time in front of the wrong altar.
Yeah, he's looking at you with not necessarily that good of a veiled interest.
I don't remember the whole story. Remembering those stories was never my strong suit. I remember a lot of things. Spirits and Umbra about us and my tribe. I don't remember all the stories though, the specifics. I think it was in front of Stag. Totem. From what I remember, they said you could all but see Stag reach out of the Umbra and just smack him upside the head with his antlers. Said he was out cold for at least a week.
Sorry, I'm a Ryobash. I get to laugh at things like this.
It's alright. Just teaches you to respect the places you're at and the people you're with. I think that's the meaning of the story. That's what I took from it. There's a time and place for joking, and there's a time and place for not, especially about certain things.
Well, what do you find that's off limits? What do you find that's so serious that people need to take it with a little bit more respect?
Totem spirits for certain. The incarnate.
Oh, when you say totem spirits, Lucas's eyes will go ahead and pop up. But you were saying?
Incarnate and, when people have gone to them and asked for their patronage, given whatever offerings the spirits asked of them, and they made that bond, joking about something, especially right at their altar, is just in such poor taste. It's like, here, give me all your benefits, all your blessings, all your love, but I'm gonna talk smack and say how horrible you are in this way or that. That's just not appropriate, you know?
Or when you go ahead and make a contract, a deal with a totem spirit, and then you, by neglect or just disrespect, don't follow through?
Aye.
You Atta asks the story of Andre Chicken Shit Takamunde. Now, this is my version of the story. It's not perfect, and it doesn't have the finesse that, a galliard would certainly, but this is my twist on it. Now, Andre Chicken Shit Takamunde was a Shadow Lord, the Shadow Lord Arun, who was given a cup and a half of Gaia's wonderful, wonderful rage. And he had problems managing his anger, his rage. His rage alienated him from others who he wished to be more close, and it threw him into frenzy in the middle of battle that made him less effective and brought shame upon him after the fact. Dear Andre went up and besieged the Right Master of the Sept, who I believe was Chase's the Storm Raya at the time, to summon Unicorn himself, the full frontal entire freaking totem incarna level spirit. And he did not come with anything, not much chinnage, except for a small amount of gnosis he poured into a cup and sort of handed over to the gigantic totem spirit. And he asked, well, asking would be, I'm going to say ask. Some people would say demand. Some people will say begged and pleaded, but no. I'm going to go with ask. He asked Unicorn for help managing his rage. And the totemic spirit looked upon Andre and decided, I will deal with you in good faith. I will go ahead and offer you a pack deal. You are to tend to the needs of my brood and my children, the sons and daughters of Unicorn, the children of Gaia. And Andre accepted. And when I heard about this particular deal, I didn't really understand it. But I decided to make the most of it. I asked him to clean my laundry. Other people asked him many other things. He did none of these things, which certainly angered Unicorn. But Unicorn was a very, very forgiving spirit. So, Unicorn and her shadow, Black Unicorn, offered him just one more chance. Just the one. Just the one. After failing the first one, give up something valuable to somebody who you think is weakest. Did not do that. And he came again. Okay. You are to offer tidings. And the pack will be reinstated. And you get no benefit from this. We will not help you with your age. And the conditions that we put in the previous pack to go ahead and prevent abuse, we're also removing that. But this is one way, Chicken said, that you could get back into our good graces. Second verse, much the same as the first. And before anything could be resolved, Andre Chicken Chick Takamunde was never seen in this sept again.
I'm not surprised. Surprised they had the gall to stay around that long. I just don't understand how you can do that.
Lucas goes ahead and shrugs his shoulders. All I wanted was my laundry done. Andre, Chicken Shit, Takamunde. He was I forget exactly who deeded him chicken shit, and I forget exactly who deeded him Tarkamunte, but he earned both those names. I mean, he was as strong as a mountain, but he was also as cowardly as the lowest animal that you can possibly find. His story digs deep into another Raya, Katori Raya. If I understand it, if I remember it correctly, Andre performed a betrayal of a trust that was placed in him by Katori when they were not of rank, when they were Cleith and Foster, if I remember correctly. And not only did Andre go ahead and he also betrayed a silent strider by the name of Claude by the Abyss. Within the Abyss, Andre did not perform his duties as an alpha. And for this, Claude by the Abyss earned his name by taking an attack fully. And for that, Claude by the Abyss held a deep, deep grudge against the Shadow Lords for a long time. To be quite honest, we should have seen that grudge, and we should have taken more steps to rectify that. And that grudge within Claw's the Abyss hearts caused him to lash out at what he perceived was an injustice. And it may have been an injustice. This was actually a case that Ola Tryggvason Screams in Silence looked over. This particular crime for which he was ultimately, well, executed for. Executed in a duel. He may have won the duel, but while winning the duel, he lost control of himself and had to be put down by the then warden at the time, Tiva Titanium. You are not a Galliard. Why am I telling you this?
I don't know. Because you're trying to pass time.
You know what?
Trying to let me know more of the
Probably
history. Let me know more of the history of where I'm at.
Yeah. Old history. That was back when. Yeah. That was back before I had my first change. Such old history. What was your first change like?
Oh, goodness. That was a fair bit ago. My first change, it was a fairly dark night, actually. Crescent moon and all. Just that faintest hint of silver gleaming in the sky. I remember I'd been out tending to some of the sheep that there was one that was giving birth. I don't know what spurned it. I remember feeling like a burning in the back of my throat, the back of my neck, the back of my head, my arms. I started to run, trying to get back to people. I'd heard about like what happens, and I knew that one day it happened to me, but I guess I just wasn't ready for it. I wasn't sure when it would happen. They always said it'd be a dark night, but I guess I kind of assumed that it'd be new moon. Although with all the things I'd learned over the years, I suppose I should have realized. But anyways, I was maybe halfway back home when that rage just hit me from deep inside, doubling me over. I remember the horses out in the pasture spooked as I let out that first howl, and then the horses started running. And the wolf, said, "The prey's on the move. Go after it." And I did. It was strange that first time seeing the horses that had once stood nearly as high as my head, now tiny before me, as I chased them down. I ended up killing 2 horses that night before anybody from the sept could get out to me. We had a bit of a scuffle, and I remember blocking out. I think, I'm not entirely sure what they did, but I remember hearing some chanting and before I blocked out. Looking back, I can see that they weren't trying to hurt me. They were just trying to corral me, corner me, keep me from going too rampant, getting to people that can't defend themselves. At least not from the monster I was that night. When I woke up, the rage was still there, but my mind had kind of returned to me, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
And I began a new branch in my training, learning. Started learning a few rights here and there. And I try not to dwell too much on the specifics of what I did. I know I wasn't fully in control that first night. I know the wolf had to run, the wolf had to be a wolf. I know that's a part of me. It's a part of me I've come to accept since then. Doesn't mean you have to enjoy the needless deaths, the deaths that didn't have to happen. So I suppose
I
that
found.
first night, any deaths.
What?
I suppose that first night, any deaths are beyond your control. At least early on, I've heard that some gain control closer after a while and can rein it in, but I just wasn't ready for it, and I've learned to try and be ready for things since then.
Let's go ahead and not. That's good. That's good. Well, believe me, whatever you did during your first change, people would more have given you. In fact, I was almost the casualty of a first change, to be quite honest. A son of Stag. We were at a bar, right? We had convinced one of the Cleas to come with us so that we could go and have a drink, simply because he wasn't able to buy anything. He was much younger than us, and we were all cubs at the time. So he bamboozled this Cleus, and he takes us to this fantastic bar. It looks a little bit Scottish, Irish. I apologize if I'm butchering the United Kingdoms and any knowledge you may have of them. But In any case, an Arun cub that we were a class with goes ahead and rubs her shoulders against some other person at the bar. And this other person at the bar goes ahead and gets very, very angry. Too angry. I mean, it had to have been the right mood. It had to have been the right mood. It had to have been the worst day of this guy's life because he literally changes into Kratos right in front of us. At which point, it was up to us, the Cub class, as well as a few of the adults who were there, to go ahead and bring this thing down so that it didn't hurt anybody and that we could protect the veil. I remember running through the crowd, slipping my way sideways, and then just kicking the legs out from under this Krenos. Me, Pommet, he goes and points to himself, kick the legs out of a frenzying Krenos Garu. Oh, I learned of that moment for about 3 seconds before he got right back up and clawed my chest wide open.
I bet.
I learned not to get too cocky. But he turned out to be a nice blow. Name of Adam. To be a son of Stag, but he did not reach his rite of passage before Gaia took him.
That's a pity.
I don't like when Cubs go ahead and return to Gaia before their rite of passage, but Gaia has a plan, and Gaia makes fools of us all. Don't you agree?
Aye, Gaia has a plan, and I'm pretty sure I don't know what it is. At least not her long-run plan. I know right now our job's to make sure she survives and try and make sure I fulfill my duties in that manner. Doesn't mean I don't celebrate when we succeed at something.
All right. How do you find yourself helping the Gaian cause then here in this episode? I mean, I can see you already gave a lot of skin and a lot of blood in battle against that flood of blood. But what else?
I've tended to some of the kinfolk who got in a scuffle. I've done my best to try and help the folks who need it.
If you found yourself with some brothers and sisters that you would pack under,
I've met a lot of people. Haven't met anybody I wouldn't be in a pack with if it were to be brought up.
all right. What do you think about my alpha? Electric Bus and Screaming Silence.
Seems like a wise man. He's got a good heart about him, from what I can tell. He's the den father, aye?
Lucas goes ahead and nods.
And he gives a damn about the cubs and the people and making sure that duties are fulfilled. His duties, their duties to learn. That's a commendable act.
Do you think he's a good alpha?
If he fulfills his duties to Park like he does to the Sept, I'd say aye.
Lucas goes ahead and nods. You know, and back before I gained Kilios, Actually, no. This was the day after I finished my rite of passage. Olaf Tryggvason was the Den Father at the time, and he was charged with taking the cub class into the umbral realm known as Wolfhone. Have you heard it before?
I've heard the name. I'm not sure I know too much about it.
Well, he was the one that escorted the cubs into that realm. I went ahead and followed. A lot of other cubs also came with us, some of which I went ahead and packed with Olaf. And I have to say, there is when you can see a little bit of what makes him an alpha. He went, and he did not want to leave until every single cub left with him. It's unfortunate that he just couldn't control who left that hell and who stayed, but he had a conviction that he had to go, that he had to see it all the way through. Two of the cubs that went, Maeve MacFion and Chino, actually, they had to stay the longest, and that gnawed on Olaf so terribly bad. But afterwards, we were together, and we were back. It was good. Same passion. He also gives it out to any Clea. Hell, still gives it out to me every so often just because I'm fostering. But I think that's, again, conspiratorially, but I think that's because he doesn't trust me.
She chuckles.
I know. Beta of the pack and doesn't trust me?
I'd say he probably does trust you. They trust you to take what he gives you.
Yep. He's had my back more than once and always done me a good turn. It hasn't always been like that, people giving me a good turn, so I deeply respect that.
Aye. It's highly commendable.
As far as he is stern, he is also incredibly fair. But let me ask you this. What do you think about Stoneclaw?
She's a good cub. She's very inquisitive when I've been around. But she also takes things for what they are, you know? It's kind of hard to explain.
What do you mean by that? Well, imagine that I'm 5-year-old and try.
Alright, let's see here. Say, like, when we were out at Yggdrasil the other night,
Mm-hmm.
a few of these Harry Potters came through the trunk of the tree into the Umbra with us. And she was very inquisitive to what one of them was doing. He was doing card tricks of some sort. And so she was keeping an eye on him and watching what he's doing. But she had that inquisitive, like, curiosity to her, which is good. You know, it shows a desire to learn and grow. But she was also making sure that nothing bad was happening. She's making sure that no squabbles broke out. Because one of the mages that came through was... She's a bit yellow-bellied. Nearly screaming over the fact that Stoneclaw was just laying there in the first place.
Those magi, but the wise men and women, they aren't good fighters.
She actually had drawn a picture of Stoneclaw looking through from the Tolarian. I brought it back with me. Because I'm not leaving a picture of Stoneclaw out there with nobodies that I don't know.
Very, very good.
Ellie got the picture she
What do you
drew
think?
of Aiden.
It's very, very, it's actually more than awesome. It shows that you have a healthy respect for the Veil, at least. The Veil is our sword and shield. It can protect us against our enemies and offer cover when we need to walk the city to find our enemies.
Aye. Without it, we're going to be swarmed with people trying to do us in. On that, there are a lot more of them than there are us. No matter how much of a beating we can take, enough of them and you're going to go down eventually.
This is true. I learned a lot about the Veil traveling most of the country. It's very, very helpful that people did not look at us sideways or notice us, that we simply passed on through doing the jobs that we needed to get by until I eventually landed here. And it's pretty much the same dealio. Doing what you need to get by and not making a big splash on the front page.
Aye. Trying not to be a big splash.
Let me ask you this. Would you trust Stoneclaw with your back, like in a fight?
Aye. You already have. She was there with us out with the Danes. She was one of the ones who nearly died.
Did she stop fighting?
Nay.
Did she strike at the enemy and protect you?
Aye.
That is a good report. I always like hearing good reports about cubs. You know, I have a bit of advice, a small bit, tiny, tiny bit of advice that could go ahead and change your whole existence forever.
Aye, and what's that?
First, I gotta ask you one last question.
Alright.
What do you think of me?
She kind of looks you over. From what I've seen of you so far, you're a talkative, friendly fella. You seem to care about your puck. You talk very highly of him. Wouldn't expect any less from somebody. If you were talking poorly of your puck, I'd probably be talking to your puck because that's just not something you should do. Because if you're talking poorly of your puck, that means you need to be talking to your puck and making him taking care of whatever business it is, but keeping it within your puck. That's between y'all. But you've not
Of
done that.
course, of course.
You know, you've been very informative, showing me around, showing me the every meal and all that, showing me this place. I'm guessing it has meaning.
This is the Throne of Unicorn.
She gives a little reverent bow of her head.
I have no idea what that means. I'm sorry. What is she doing? Because that kind of flew
Giving a
over my head.
reverent bow of her head.
Oh, okay. No, I hear you now. My apologies.
That's all right.
The Shrine of Unicorn. does not have a statue of unicorn. Not that there aren't like artisans that haven't made it. It's just simply, you know what a miracle is?
Aye.
What to you is a miracle?
When something greater than you steps in and makes sure that balance is maintained or lives are saved. When wisdom that is absolutely necessary, that it not be forgotten, is passed on. It comes in many forms.
It's also very rare and hard to find, right?
Aye.
In this world, I have found that unicorn's blessing is often rare, but very, very valuable, very, very hard to find. That's why she's not evident here. You can feel her here. You can definitely feel that calm presence, but you don't see it unless it's really, really needed. And this has happened to me once or twice before. Actually, I should say it's only happened once before. The other time, I was completely delirious, and my friend was there to catch me.
Fair enough.
All that being said, and he's going to go ahead and stand up. If you think that I have been helpful, if you think you can trust Stoneclaw in a fight, if you think that Olaf truly cares and has the leadership capabilities to be an alpha, well then, I think you should walk up to Olaf and ask to petition to be a part of the Whispers.
Thank you.
Don't tell them that I told you to do it.
Right.
He's a Gita Fenris. He would rather like somebody to go ahead and walk up and challenge him. But don't actually challenge him. Just ask if you could come in. Maybe it's going to be easy. I don't know. He's a Gita Fenris Philodox. And now I'm just yammering on.
Yeah, challenging. Yeah, that wouldn't go over well.
No, I just realized. He's an Adrian now. Shakes head. Ask to be a part of the Whispers. I would be very, very glad to call you sister.
Well, perhaps the next time I see him, I'll have something more to talk to him about then.
Wonderful. Besides your wounds, besides story, besides trying to pass on the time, what do you require of me, good ma'am?
Require of you? Nothing.
What do you want from me?
Well, if you'd like to call me sister, if he asks for opinions, a good one of me would go a long way. That is, if he asks.
Oh, believe me, I have ways of getting him to talk about the subject that I need him to talk about.
Well, that's wonderful then.
Sometimes all I need to do is punch him in the face when he's least expecting it, but that involves punching towards my face and a little bit of a fight. But you know what? We're brothers. It all pans out.
As long as it's just punching, you should be just fine. Eventually.
It's late. Have you eaten?
Not in a bit.
Well, there's a restaurant called Red Bones that has, well, it has loot fish. It doesn't have the great loot fish that Olaf likes. But I can go ahead and host your dinner.
Well then, I'll accept.
Awesome. Lucas is going to go ahead and start to gesture for Alonna, right?
Alonna, hi.
Fist bump out of the little grove. And if there's anything that you wish to bring up, do so now.
I don't think so. I think that's pretty much everything.
All right. I'll go ahead and give us an outro.
All right.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for coming on this little ride from us. We hope to see you all again on the Living World of Darkness Rage across New York.